Now you understand your place. This is just the beginning.
The first thing I noticed was the laughter. Too loud. Too sharp. It cut through the ballroom like broken glass. My hand rested on my stomach instinctively, fingers trembling beneath silk. 7 months pregnant, and somehow I felt smaller than ever. Smile, my husband whispered through clenched teeth. Daniel's grip tightened on my arm. People are watching. I smiled. I always did. The guests circled us with champagne and curiosity, their eyes flicking from my belly to his perfectly tailored suit. Daniel thrived here. I survived. Someone asked how far along I was. Before I could answer, Daniel laughed. She exaggerates everything, pregnancy included. More laughter followed. My cheeks burned. I tried to pull away. He didn't let me. Don't be dramatic, he said louder now. You wanted attention, didn't you? The music softened, but the humiliation grew heavier. I caught my reflection in a mirrored column. Pale, quiet, replaceable. That was how he liked me. You know, Daniel continued, raising his glass. Some women use pregnancy as an excuse to stop trying, to let themselves go. His friends chuckled. One of the wives looked away. I opened my mouth. No sound came out. Fear sat on my tongue, bitter and familiar. Then Daniel leaned closer, his smile cruel. Be grateful, he murmured. Without me, you'd be nothing. A server froze beside us, eyes wide. Somewhere near the entrance, the doors shifted, interrupted by the echo of approaching footsteps. Slow and deliberate, cutting straight through the laughter that changed everything. Every head turned toward the sound, but Daniel didn't notice. He was still talking, still enjoying the attention. She's sensitive, he announced. Always has been. The phone kept ringing. No one moved. Daniel stared at me like the room had tilted and I was the cause. Sister, he repeated, laughing too late. That's funny, I didn't answer. My chest rose slowly. For the first time, I didn't rush to fix his discomfort. The tallest man stepped closer. You should take the call, he said to Daniel. Bad news travels fast. Daniel fumbled for his phone. His smile collapsed as he read the screen. Excuse me, he muttered, stepping aside. His voice dropped. What do you mean the accounts are frozen? A murmur spread. I felt eyes shift again, this time toward me. I straightened, one hand on my stomach, grounding myself. The middle brother turned to the guests. My sister prefers privacy, he said calmly. But she's endured enough disrespect tonight. Daniel snapped his phone shut. What is this? He demanded. Who are you people? The third man finally spoke. We're the reason your investors returned your calls last year? Daniel scoffed. I built my company myself. I met his gaze. My voice surprised even me. No, Daniel, you managed what you were allowed to touch. Silence. Thick. Dangerous. His face darkened. You're confused, he said, reaching for my arm again. This time I stepped back. The movement was small, but deliberate. Don't, said my brother. Security shifted near the walls. The music stopped completely. Daniel looked around, searching for allies, realizing too late that the room had changed. Sirens wailed, interrupting his breath and thoughts. I swallowed. The baby kicked, sharp and sudden, like a warning. I shifted my weight, but Daniel stepped in front of me, blocking the view. Relax, he said. You're embarrassing yourself. The footsteps stopped, a pause stretched, uncomfortable. Whispers rippled through the room. I felt them before I saw them, 3 presences, calm, controlled, heavy with confidence. Daniel, I said softly. He ignored me. Honestly, he continued, if she hadn't trapped me would finish that sentence. The voice was male, deep, unhurried. It didn't shout, yet it silenced the room instantly. Daniel stiffened. He turned slowly. I followed his gaze. 3 men stood near the entrance, dark suits, identical posture. They looked nothing alike, yet something bound them, authority, maybe blood. For a heartbeat, no one spoke. Daniel laughed, sharp and forced. Sorry, private party. The tallest man smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. We're aware. I felt my knees weaken. Not from fear this time, from memory. From a past I was taught never to mention here. Daniel leaned toward me, whispering, do you know them? I shook my head. It was a lie. The middleman's eyes met mine. Recognition flickered, quick, controlled, devastating. Little sister, he said quietly. The word landed like thunder, but before anyone could react, a phone rang loudly, cutting through the shock, freezing the truth midair. The sirens passed the building, fading into distance, but the damage stayed. Daniel exhaled, forcing a laugh. See, nothing. My eldest brother stepped forward. They weren't for you, he said. They were for the accountant who tried to move money after the freeze. Daniel's color drained. Freeze. I finally spoke without shaking. The company was never yours, I said. You were a face. I was the signature you never questioned. Gasps followed. I remembered every night he dismissed my work. Every time he said I was lucky to be kept. Silence had protected me then. Now it armed me. The middle brother addressed the room. Our sister invested quietly, under her maiden name. Long before marriage, Daniel lunged again. Security stopped him instantly. The struggle was brief, humiliating. You can't do this, he shouted. She's my wife. I met his eyes. A document appeared in my brother's hand. Divorce filing, he said calmly. Effective tonight. Daniel collapsed into a chair, surrounded by witnesses who suddenly remembered urgent reasons to leave. I felt the baby move, steady, alive. Fear loosened its grip. I hadn't become powerful tonight. I had remembered I already was. As we walked away, the tallest brother leaned close. You stayed silent too long. I nodded. Never again. Tomorrow, contracts would dissolve, names would vanish, and he would learn how quickly admiration turns away when truth finally stands alone and exposed. Behind us, Daniel's reputation shattered in whispers. Cruelty is loud. Self-respect doesn't need to shout.